Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you are all safe and well. New channel, please subscribing, hitting the bell. Oh, where's it gone? Hitting the bell icon. Let me put it on. My daughter's been using it. Hitting the bell icon. There we go. That's for our channel sponsors. I'll tuck it. Check out the description below. Bloody daughters. It's half turn's finished, and she's still pissed about my computer. Anyway, everyone is safe and well. Another My Hammers 11 interview today with a big fan, Just Kai. Hey, D, big boy, you all right?
I'm all good. How
It's
about
nice,
you?
isn't it? Yeah, I'm all right. When the sun's out, it makes everything a bit more bearable, doesn't it?
Yeah, until it comes to the time where you got to go to sleep. And then...
Cracking point.
Yeah, and then it's a case of you're swearing by the fact that you hate warm weather.
Yeah, that's so true. Obviously, we had so much rain, and we sit there like, oh, a bit of sunshine. And obviously, we had a bit of sunshine last week, and everyone was like, oh, it's too hot, isn't it? Oh, it's too hot. It's like that's why I've got one of these. I'll show you. Oh, I can't get it out. It's got those industrial fans.
Oh, don't blame you, mate.
Yeah.
You've got like a little mini aircon thing where you stick the filter in the freezer, and you put like
Does that
some
work?
filter at the top. Yeah, it does the job.
Someone bought me last year. I don't know who it was. Like someone, it came through the door at Amazon. I didn't order it. Someone must have bought it for me. One of those neck things. It's like
Okay.
going on here. That's the thumbnail. There's the thumbnail. Your neck things.
Got it. There we go.
You sort of push them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just like warm air, just like on your face. But yeah, it's very kind of said to. Thank you. Someone said to me. But yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's when it's sticky, isn't it? And it's like it's yeah. I famously on Friday got out of the pool. No, Thursday night I decided to get out of the pool for flow, and so it took like 5 hours, 4 hours to fill it up, and you have to get the filter and so did all that Thursday, and obviously all day Friday it pissed it down, didn't it? Yeah. So I could have saved myself so much money on the old wall. I could literally just lifted the top and just let the rainwater.
It was bucketing down as well.
It was, wasn't it? Typical.
Right. I knew the rain was meant to start at like 6, 7, and it was like 8 o'clock, and I was just sort of sat there like, because especially when it's heat, like how it has been the last couple of days, I can't wait for the rain. So I was just sort of sat there like tapping my foot impatiently, going, "Where's the rain? Where's the rain? I need it to rain."
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous, isn't it? Because we soon wish for it to come, and as soon as it comes, we wish it away, don't we? So
more than 2 days of rain. I'm doing the same with the hot weather.
Yeah,
because I'm, what I mean, swearing by the fact that I hate the rain.
But come rain or shine, West Ham's kept us going this year.
It has. And what a year they've decided. Like what a time they've decided to suddenly pick up their act. Do you know what I mean? Like sort of coming towards the end of last season where everyone was down in the dumps, and then West Ham weren't helping at points, and then all of a sudden we just about survived relegation. Yeah. And then this season we nearly got Champions League, and like it's funny because my stepdad's a Spurs fan, and I was sat there playing the Champions League theme and going, "You ain't gonna hear that, but I might." You've got no chance.
But that's the thing about being a West Ham fan. It's enjoying those moments. They don't come along very often, those moments. And when they do, it's important to enjoy them because
make the most.
I'm hopeful that we'll have more of them coming in this new regime. But you never know. You never know with West Ham, do you? So.
It's a case of we're used to the usual cycle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're used to the same old thing of. Like the 2000 last season, Bolin's perfect example. Yeah. The season before, last season under Allardyce, we didn't do too bad. We didn't do great. But then Bilic come in, and everyone else come in. Payet come in, Lanzini come in, and it changed everything. All of a sudden, it's we're going to the new stadium, and you've got Sullivan saying what he's saying about yeah, and it went wrong.
Yeah, it just it just.
I think that point, it was a case of going into a brand new stadium. You know, as much as we reluctantly went into it, it was a case of, you know, this could be it. This could be it. And when it wasn't, I think we didn't savour the moment. I think, especially when it was the last season at the Boleyn, I think that helped. That sort of pushed. That was more important, really, in my opinion, than, you know, ending the season on a high, ending the final home game with a win, and what a game that was as well. You know, we sort of went into the next season at the Olympic Stadium or the London Stadium, and, you know, when it all went wrong, we were all a bit like, shit, that happened. Do you know what I mean? But it seems that this season now it's a case of, you know, we've got Europa League, and it's now, you know, savour the moment, because like last time it could come and go as it did.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those. I think it seems, until recently, it seems we have like a good year, and then we have 5 barren years, so to speak.
Yeah.
So obviously this is the best year since the Boleyn year, which was the best year since probably about 2000, and maybe the season we went up, maybe that was quite a good season. And then before then would have been probably the FA Cup final, which was 2006. Before then would have probably been the Intertoto Cup 1992. So it literally is every 5 years we have a good season, and even, you know, you look back at the boys of '86, that team, and they never there was no investment on that team otherwise, and then they sort of went on a slump, and that's what I think is different about this time. That's why I'm quietly confident with next season. I think there's going to be I think we've got the right man on the helm.
Yeah.
He hasn't signed well, hopefully, if he signs a contract, but
I mean, Ancelotti hasn't gave us any help, has he? Do you know what I mean? Driving out of that as quickly as he can.
But do you know who has given us hope?
What has?
Duncan Ferguson. Dunk has given us hope, because he refused to go to Real Madrid. He wanted the Everton job. That's incredible. The confidence in the man. You know, Ancelotti's basically given him a free pass to come to Madrid, and I'd have been there in a shot. No, sorry.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But I mean, fair play to the bloke.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
totally, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, talking about having the right man at the helm. I mean, I remember when we first brought him in. What was it? The 17-18 season?
Yeah, all the seasons mould into one, to be honest with you.
Yeah. This is the thing. It's all just sort of. It might have been there, and I think he'd only just got relegated with Sunderland the season before, I believe. I might be wrong. I'm not 100%, but I remember being quite like, you know, it was announced, and I was like, I think I was in college, my first year in college, and there was another West Ham fan with me, and his best mate was a Spurs fan, and me and the other West Ham fan, who's funnily enough called Kai as well, we both sat there going, "Oh, why Moyes the first time round?" And then it sort of hit the end of the season. We got rid of him. We brought in Pellegrini, and I don't know. I thought the first time getting rid of him was slightly unjust.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know what I mean? And then when he was reappointed after Pellegrini left, it was again, I had the exact same reaction as the first time. Why Moyes? We got rid of him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I thought the whole point is to start trying to move on. And then he had a couple of games, and then I was sat there thinking to myself, hang on a second. When he first got sacked, I completely disagreed with the point that he was sacked, but then when he's come back, I'm now moaning about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got all my sort of, I don't know what the word for it. I've got like my priorities back.
Yeah, priorities. Yeah.
I mean, like, in reality, we've brought in the right bloke, and thank God I was wrong. I mean, I've been wrong so many times this season. Oh my God! But do you know what? I've never been so happy to be proven wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, a bloke that I work with. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the start of the season, you know, obviously it didn't start well. We had that performance against Newcastle, which wasn't great at 2-0.
No.
But then sort of when we started to pick up, when Moyes and Diop come down with COVID, I think, wasn't that just before the Charlton game?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And you know, then Alan Irvine come in, and you know, the bloke I work with was like, you know what, keep your chins up. We're going to do all right. We're going to have a run of games that we're going to actually do quite well. I was like, mate, there's no, like, look who we've got. We've got Wolves, we've got Leicester, we've got Spurs, and obviously Spurs were on the run that they were under Mourinho, and thank God that collapsed as fast as it went up. You know, then we've got City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
And 5 games, I even remember seeing on Twitter, like, everyone's going, if we get 4 points, we'd be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And then he was going, nah, keep your head up. We're gonna do better than you think. And then we walloped Wolves. I was like, all right, fair enough. Then we beat Leicester, and I thought, right, okay. And then I remember watching because my granddad, like I said, my stepdad's a Spurs fan, and so is my granddad. A lot of my family are Spurs fans, and you know, I remember going around my granddad's, and because he's not very well, I left early so I can watch it from the kickoff, and my stepdad's left a little bit later, and just before I left, my stepdad said, "Oh, why don't you just come with me?" He said, "You're only going to end up missing all the Spurs goals." He come in 18 minutes in the game and Spurs were 3-0 up. He come in and I was just going, "Oh, I hate you. I hate you. Why didn't I go with you?" And he was just laughing. But then obviously they weren't too pleased at full time with that game.
No.
Which was bittersweet, but it was funny.
But I know what you mean. It's like it's. I think this season has been a season where we've all had to take stock of you know, as you said, like we've been proven wrong several times this season, but we've all been happy to, you know, to be proven wrong. And you know, you mentioned Alan Irvine. You know, it's obviously it's not just Moisey, but it's the whole backroom team he's assembled. They're absolutely godsends. And
I love seeing, like, I can't remember what couple of games it was. I mean, there's been so many moments. Which Nolan, like his reactions when we score, like, like he's one of the ex West Ham players. I'm so glad we got back with us. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, he's going to end up coming up in my team, but you know, he was brilliant. I loved him.
Yeah, he is. It's just passion, isn't it? I think that's what West Ham fans love to see is passion, and whether it's passion on the pitch or passion in the dugout. You know, that was one thing. You know, we never really warmed to Pellegrini in that way because he never seemed passionate. You know, he'd sit there and he'd only get up if we were like a couple of goals down or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, I like a manager. I like a manager in a tracksuit. I'll be honest. I like a tracksuit manager. I like, you know, there's certain types of managers who are suit managers and certain times with tracksuit. Sometimes Moyes mix it up and goes with like a jumper, you know, smart trousers and a jumper and a shirt, which is fine, but it's not really a suit. You know, so whereas
shows that he's ready to be active on the touchline.
It's almost like he's working. It's a workout.
Yeah. I mean,
where it's like, you know, Guardiola is in a different league because he just looks wicked in whatever he wears.
Do
you know what I mean? He's just a smart guy. Scott Parker's the same. Scotty P's the same. He can get away with anything else.
Yeah.
But you know, everyone else is alright. So like Klopp. Klopp is he's a tracksuit manager. You know, that's what I like. Mourinho is more of a Solskjaer. Yeah, exactly. Like suit manager.
He's one that doesn't really get up. Do you know
no,
what
he doesn't. No.
And that gets on my nerves. I'm not even a United fan. I don't like United at all. But that's something that I've even mentioned to a couple of, you know, typical London United fans.
Of course.
I've said to him, like, you know, doesn't that get on your nerves that he doesn't ever seem animated on the touchline? Like, they'll score and he'll sort of, you'll see it and he'll sort of smile to himself and probably go, yeah. And then he'll just sit back again and you just think, oh, like,
yeah.
I hate that.
I think it's that underneath because he's Danish, isn't he? I think it's that sort of, you know, that happens. I think that there's certain parallels to that as well. So there's like, you know, I look at someone like Winston Reid. So Winston Reid, you know, he spent a lot of time in Denmark, and he's a Kiwi as well. So, you know, quite reserved, you know, personalities. So that you don't really see him in the same way like James Collins was like a Welshman, you know. So and it's the same true with managers, I think. And yeah, definitely. And it's funny because then you get certain people like Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche, he's a suit manager, but he should be a tracksuit manager.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we've started a whole new series now, Kyle.
See, giving you ideas.
Shirt or suit. That's what it should be.
Shirt or suit.
Yeah, that's what I like, man. But anyway, so you mentioned like obviously you know you got a lot of Tottenham fans in your life. So why did you pick the right side? What was the story behind it?
We're going years before I was born, like probably even not long after my mum was born, when my granddad was working in the civil service. And when he worked in the civil service, he ended up meeting a bloke. I think he then ended up working in the British Library. And in there, he met a bloke who ended up being his best mate, called Brian. And Brian was a out-and-out devout Hammers fan. Like, complete, you know, he bled claret and blue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my granddad, and they were best mates, inseparable. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they'd do anything for each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, my granddad was going through quite a rough patch, and sort of a lot of people in my family were at that time. And he would always help, and you know, it'd be vice versa and whatever. And then once I was born, football wasn't really like anything for me initially. Like, it wasn't anything that bothered me. It was just for me, football was the games that I had. You know, the PES and FIFA, and it wasn't anything special.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally get it, man.
Even when talking to Spurs fans in my family, it was not like I never once would have said, you know, I'd have been one of them typical kid. I support this team because I play with them on FIFA or PES, or I like this team this week because I've gone from liking Manchester United on PES because I like Ryan Giggs, to then I like Liverpool because I like Torres. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was typical sort of sliding back and forth. But then it must have been about year 2. I don't know how old that is. I think that might be about 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
My granddad and his best mate Brian decided to take me to a West Ham game, or to try to anyway, shall we say. I don't know who we were playing. For some reason, I feel like it was Fulham, but I don't know if Fulham were in the Premier League at that time, or if even we were. Like, I genuinely have no idea. It's something that I can't remember exactly. Like, for some reason, I think it's Fulham, because for some reason I've got a memory of in primary school someone saying that that's who we played. But like I said, I haven't got a clue, because unfortunately we turned up to the ground and it all sold out.
Oh no.
So, you know, but before that, like, they, you know, I hopefully should be able to get them. I don't know when this video will go out, but tomorrow my mum's going to my granddad's, and there's 3 photos of on his wall of me, my granddad, and his best mate Brian at the Bobby Moore statue.
Lovely.
You know, and even like going down Barking Road, going down way past Bowling, carry on going straight down, but towards Barking, pretty much. There was, I don't know what the pub was, but it was sat on the corner. It's shut now. It's completely shut. I don't even think it's been turned into anything. But I believe next to it there's a doctor's practice. There's a GP next to it. But I just remember being out there just before the game started, you know, and picking up on the atmosphere of that. Do you know what I mean? Of outside, You know, my granddad, who's a diehard Spurs fan, his best mate, who's a diehard Hammers fan, and then there's me, who's getting sort of pushed into this.
Yeah,
you know,
inducted into this.
like held hand in hand by a Spurs fan and a West Ham fan into go. This is your team. Go and you know, and you know, all I remember is getting to the ticket booth, finding out it had sold out, and just crying. You know, because he's gutting, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
That's like that's the one thing I always remember, hearing it and just being like, you know, knowing that I'd missed out on something. Not exactly knowing what I'd missed out of, but it's that feeling, the noise of the Boleyn when it was rocking. You know, I've been to other football games and there's never been a place quite like it. But fortunately, a couple of years after that, so in 2011, I went to my first West Ham game with my granddad, his best mate, who we all call Uncle, and my sister. And we went to the 2-0 win in 2011 against Barnsley. Yeah, proper out there game. And that, I don't exactly. All I know is I sat sort of opposite the dugout on the other side, sort of sat almost slap bang in the middle, and you know, they felt like the atmosphere, the everything as a kid. You know, again at that point, sort of somewhat picked West Ham, but didn't really have a reason, and that was it. That was it. The moment that whistle went for kickoff, that was it. Do you know what I mean? And I again sat next to a diehard Spurs fan and a diehard West Ham fan, and I've never seen a Spurs fan celebrate a West Ham goal in my life. And you know, I mean, I remember the first goal was Jonathan Spector. Can't remember exactly seeing it go in. All I know is that there was just a huddle of players. Next thing I know, the ball's in the back of the net, and everyone's up on their feet, screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
And then the last goal was in the 93rd minute by Frederick Piquion, who come on. That's the only thing I can ever remember of him. And do you know what? That's it. That's all I need to remember. Of Frederick. Like, you know, that moment of, I mean, I remember as a kid thinking, like, to this day, vivid memory of it being somewhat outside the box and he just rockets it into the top corner. But then I was watching a replay not too long ago and he sort of runs it into the box and still rockets it into the top corner. But like, as a kid, you know, it was the best thing I've ever seen. That was my, like, the greatest goal I've ever seen anyone score, including the fluky goals that you'd ever see scored in primary school. Do you know what I mean? Frederick Piquion scored a 94th minute second goal against Barnsley in, I believe, it might have been the Carling Cup, or it might have been the FA Cup. I think it was the FA Cup. You know, like, that greatest thing I'd ever seen.
But that's the thing, though, mate. That's the thing, isn't it? That's and it's not necessarily the games. It's, as you said, it's the memories that you have, and as you said, also it's not just the goals. That, you know, the fact is, you know, you don't necessarily remember the first game you turned up to, and they didn't have tickets, but it was about the memories and about your granddad and his mate and your uncle. He's not really your uncle, but he left then you were lawnmower. And so you have to call him uncle and all those types of things, you know. But that's what it's about, though, mate. It ain't about I've gone to see, like, you know. I remember my first game, but I don't remember anything else. Really, it's sort of like just goes away. But that's what's great about football. That's what's great about West Ham. I think it's just this special place, and the fact that I love the fact that a Tottenham fan was pushing you to support West Ham. Nice.
I mean, I talked to my granddad about it, and you know, my granddad would even say that he would go to West Ham games, and then him and his best mate, they'd go to Spurs games, even though he was a West Ham fan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the football didn't matter because they were best mates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it was the fact that, oh, I'm going to football. Do you want to come? It wasn't a case of, oh, who are we going to see? Well, I ain't going to watch Spurs or I ain't going to watch West Ham. It was, do you want to come to the football? I've got a ticket, or I'm going to get a ticket. Do you want to come? Yeah, of course, let's go. Do you know what I mean? But after that game, I got given this little bobble hat, which, I mean, seems pretty nothing. But when my uncle was young and a West Ham fan, that was given to him. That was made by his mum when he was a child, and then got given to me after the I think it was the one we didn't get tickets to. So not my first West Ham game, but I count it as my first one. But unfortunately, my second game was quite a bit of a difficult one because he'd passed that year.
Yeah.
So we got relegated in 2011. Then December 2011, just before the turn of the new year, he'd become really ill, and it turned out that he'd got liver cancer. It might have been liver cancer. But between the diagnosis and him passing away, it was about 2 weeks.
Shit, man. Yeah, it's horrible, those things, because sometimes, I mean, my wife's dad passed not as quick as your I think she was about 6 months, but still, it's like, you know, it's whether you want it to be prolonged, so you get used to it, or whether, because then he's suffering more, isn't he? Where it's 2 weeks, it was like, God, fucking hell,
yeah. But like, he died on New Year's Day. On New Year's Day of 2012, 1st of January 2012. And I don't know, from that moment, it was like as if a torch was passed to me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that.
To do now. You know, he's the reason why I'm a West Ham fan, so I need to now go and corrupt everyone else.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
And, you know, like, so the second game that I ever see was the last time we ever beat Brighton, which still grates me that we haven't been able to beat them since. But it was the 6-0 win at the Bowling.
Yeah.
And that game, I mean, that was strange because it was a case of turning up to the ground and you were excited about the football, but you know, that day was there so that we could spread his ashes at the Memorial Garden.
Yeah.
So it was a weird game. It was such a weird feat. Like, the build-up was like no other West Ham game that I've been to. But it was, it was strange because it was so morbid and dark. Because, you know,
obviously, but obviously would be. It would be. It would be that.
Yeah, you don't want. You know, it's not like, I mean, I'd only just turned 11 years old. Do you know what I mean? And the person that's turned me into this massive football fan is all of a sudden like that, gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my granddad's best mate, like, you know what I mean? Like, at the same time. And so that was strange. Like, I just remember walking through the Bowling and getting round to the Memorial Garden, having that service, and then it was a case of going up to the stands, and we were just above the away fans. And I remember standing outside and my sister going to me, because at this time we went with my mum, my granddad, my sister, and me, then my uncle's wife and daughter. And you know, they're all West Ham fans. My mum doesn't care about football, but, you know, she always finds space to take the piss out of me when West Ham are losing. Or they're winning for once. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 game winning streak. They're winning for once. No, mum, we won last week. For once, we are actually winning.
Yeah.
You know? But I just remember being stood outside the ground. All the Brighton fans are coming in, and they were wearing their sort of lime green black kit that season, their away shirt. And I remember my sister going, I don't know why they're all so cocky. They're going to get slapped today. And I was like, oh, don't be sad. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, my sister didn't follow football. At that point, I was following us quite closely when we were in the Championship. And I was like, oh, don't. Like, Brighton, for some reason, always scared me that season. I mean, they should scare me still. They still do, to be fair.
They still do, yeah.
They still haunt my dreams. You know, and then the moment that game kicked off, I think it took 3 minutes, and Vazte from like 25 yards out just slumped it. And to this day, don't know how the keeper never saved it, but I take it. And I think within 25 minutes, we were 3-0 up. And at the end of the game, obviously, Vazte hat-trick to seal it off with a lovely little bicycle kick. And then the last goal was an own goal. And, you know, that was such a weird game, because that was very much so as if, you know, people say it's like as if someone's watching over to make sure it goes as perfectly as it could.
I totally get that, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's literally what happened. That game could not have gone as perfect. Do you know what I mean? A 6-0 win, complete dominance. Like, we didn't seem to be... They had no chance, and it was, you know, perfect. Yeah, and that game was brilliant. And since that game, I mean, I've always taken this, and I've gone to very. I haven't. Do you know what? I have to admit, I haven't gone to tons of West Ham games. I think that's sort of, you know, we've never been very well off. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, I get that. No, I get that, man. It's not necessary. I mean, fuck, we interview people all over the world, man, and some people haven't even stepped in foot in Newham. And arguably they're more of a fan than some other people. It's just because it's not about that. It's about the way you support them. But I know what you mean. And sometimes when, you know, and things like you know, that whole thing with the Brighton game, yeah, it happens that those things happen. And sometimes it just happens all for the right reason. As you said, you know, we haven't beaten them since. And that day, there was no worry. That's the last thing you wanted to worry about was us a nail-biting 1-0 victory.
Exactly.
You know, it was...
Exactly.
You know, all the emotions that you had as well there.
Yeah. But, yeah, luckily, I've taken that bobble up to every single game that I've been to. And we've never conceded, and I've never seen us draw. But we always win. We've always won. Every game that I've gone to, I mean, I think I need to go next season.
Yeah, every game.
If I get a season ticket, bring that bloody bobble out. I'm telling you, Invincible.
Yeah, we'll be in Champions League because we won the Europa League next year.
Yeah, but you know, and I think that the next time after that, I think the next game I see was with school, with one of my best mates who's also a West Ham fan, doesn't follow us very closely, but like you said, I mean, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? He'll still go to the games, and whenever I ask him, "Oh, I've got a ticket spare, do you want to go?" He's always up for it. And that was the 1-0 win 2015 against Sunderland.
You pick some glamorous ties, don't you?
Oh, mate, what I mean, that was what I missed the goal for that one as well, because Diafra scored like the 88th minute or something stupid like that, like so last minute into the game. And we'd left the stadium because we'd gone with our school, so our head teacher was like, "Oh no, we're going to leave early, so we miss all the build up and everything."
Yep.
So obviously, as we've gone to go walk out, I was like, I need to go to the toilet, gone to the toilet, come out. And my mate, like, he's waiting, then he's all of a sudden gone, well, I need to go to the toilet as well. He's gone in, taking forever, as we've just walked out of the bowling from out of nowhere. I was like, what? No! Like, just as we've walked out, they've gone and scored. But that one was class, because we were right behind the goal, near the away fans. It was just before Adam Johnson got nicked. He was coming over, doing his warm-ups near us, and I mean, the atmosphere there for that one. I mean, there's a funny video that always goes around on like the best UK football fan chants, and it's the Sunderland fans hitting a inflatable penis that they've got.
Yeah.
And the stewards take it off, and they're just chanting, "We want our dick back. We want our dick back." It's just brilliant, because I just remember being stood there looking at the side, and there's just this inflatable penis just going bobbling about the fans. I'm thinking, what the hell? But yeah, that was a strange game to go to. Like I said, you've got Andy Johnson coming right up as if, what went through his head to decide, you know what, I'm going to go right up to, as close as I can to the fans. Do you know what I mean? But the abuse that he got was hilarious. It was hilarious. I've got to give him that. The fans just went in. I can't even remember some of the chants. I think my ears were too young to know any of this.
Yeah, he didn't know what these rude words were. Yeah,
15 years old. I'm just gonna. Didn't hear nothing. But yeah, I mean,
but it's all memories though, Kai, isn't it? So I mean, it's all like memories. I'm not being funny, and it's like and that's why I like interviewing people, because it goes through, and you sort of you've listed about 3 or 4 like really strong memories, and they're all associated with West Ham.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's about how it associates and how you get associated with the club, and that's why it's just you might not go to every game, but it doesn't matter. You've got this a bond with it, and with your granddad as well. There's a real bond there. And obviously, since supporting them, obviously, what we do our 11. You've already alluded to one of your players in midfield. Spoiler alert, Kevin Nolan. So, but we'll come to that anyway. So what we try and do is get everyone to put an 11 together. So the only rule is you have to be alive to see them play. That's the only rule. Simples. You can be whoever you want, doesn't matter. But the only rule is you have to be alive to see them play. Sorted. Sweet. Crystal. Right. Okay. Right. Let's go in goal. Who's going to be in goal for the Kai 11?
Well, in goal, I'm going to go with Mr. Robert Green.
Greeno.
I'm going to go with Rob Green. He served the club pretty well.
Yeah.
He's always been, as a kid anyway, a standout player. Green, innit?
No, yeah. He's solid. He was a solid goalkeeper,
he was, we've always been quite all right with keepers.
I agree.
Apart from him who shall not be named last season.
Exactly.
We've been pretty okay with keepers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but Rob Green is always, for me, for some reason, always a bit of a stand-up. Like I mentioned, going back to the Brighton game, I remember the West Ham fans was singing to him, and he's standing there mid-game, getting them to cheer him on and everything. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. He's meant to be focusing. Next thing you know, Brighton could be coming on the counter-attack, and he's standing there getting the West Ham fans.
Yeah. But that's half the fun. That's half the fun of it,
100%.
And there's certain keepers that do that, and I think they have a special place in fans' hearts. Not even the home fans, but the away fans as well. Because don't forget, that goalkeeper will go to the away fans, and 9 times out of 10 they get a clap. They always get a clap. Very rarely they not get a clap from the away fans, whether it's West Ham away or whether it's the other team are playing away. And so there's always a strong bond with a goalkeeper and their fan base, I think. And Rob Green he had a real dry sense of humour, and I think it just worked well with the West Ham fans. The fact was he was England number 6 for a long time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And everyone's England number 6, and he had it stitched in his glove, and we love taking the piss out of ourselves. And so he was taking the piss out of himself. And I think that's why and he was a solid keeper. He was a great keeper for us.
Yeah, he was.
No denying that at all. Right, okay, we'll put Greeno in. Let's move into midfield. Who's your not midfield? Let's move into defence. Who's your first defender then, Kai?
So first one is going to be Mr. Angelo Ogbonna.
Oggy.
It has to be. I think. I was watching your episode, I believe, with Harry the other day, and he said it perfectly. I'm so glad that he's back in the team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? especially this season, he's been class. He's been gravy, and you know, when he was gone, we missed him. Do you know what I mean? Because he has that sort of, like, he brings that sturdiness to our back line.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
No matter who you put alongside him. And I mean, it was proven from when he was injured. You know, Dawson was brilliant with Angela, but then the moment Ogbonna was off injured, he started to have a couple of shaky performances. And then Ogbonna come back, and then, you know, fair enough, he had that one against, I think Angelo's first game back was against Newcastle.
Yeah.
And Dawson didn't have a great game there. But from then on, I can't really fault Dawson a lot, as much as I could have faulted him from once Ogbonna was gone. And the same with Diop. I mean, I'm one of them. I love Issa Diop, and I know he's very, you know, hot and cold between West Ham fans. I know some of them love him, some of them hate him. Well, not hate him, but would rather see someone else. But I think for me, he's shown, especially when he's alongside an older, more like controlling defender like Ogbonna, who will tell him where to go, what to do. He's brilliant, and he's young. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we want. We need to keep a hold of a defender like that, like Issa Diop, who's 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if we keep someone like Ogbonna alongside him for a decent period of time, that's then going to go on to him, and then we'll end up having a 26-year-old who's able to command his box and command his defensive line.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, Diop's always been one, like, when it, you know, I know we're talking about Ogbonna, but to quickly talk about Diop. I mean, when it was coming out that we wanted to sell him to Liverpool, we were possibly going to give him to Liverpool on loan. Having him against someone like, with having Ogbonna in the back line, someone like Issa Diop, who seems quite nervous when a game starts. He seems quite nervous. He sometimes makes the wrong decisions, but again, he's young. He's a young footballer. He's a young defender, and you know, he can get away with that. And having someone like Ogbonna who will come in and sort of correct the mistakes that he's made is brilliant, because then that sort of gets him to switch on. You know.
Yeah. Sort of wakes him up, and he's got that sort of comfort blanket, so to speak, that security blanket, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, you know, like I say, it was the same with Dawson. He does the same with Dawson, and like I said, that was shown from once Ogbonna was injured against United, that, you know, we needed someone like Ogbonna. We needed someone to, you know, he's so dearly missed in that back line, especially this.
I agree. No, I totally agree, man. No, yeah, definitely, man. Definitely, I totally agree. Right, so put Oggy in. Who's your next defender? I think, Guy. Who's next?
Oh, well, it's got to be Winston Reid, isn't it?
Oh, the Reid stuff. Let's put
Winston Reid. I think, for me, I mean, you know, I believe that season, we bring him in 2011, and we didn't Avram Grant didn't really use him. He didn't really use anyone that well, to be fair. I mean, Avram Grant didn't use anyone great, but you know, that season championship under Allardyce, he sort of started to form into his own.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was on his day something else, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, on his day, I mean, you know, going into the championship really benefited him as a player, I think. And you know, he was, when he came up, you know, after, you know, we you know, from the Blackpool game, you know, he then became you know, this defender that, you know, Liverpool were after and Arsenal were after and stuff like that. And so
it really helped with his confidence.
It really did, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and as well, if there were only ever two players on that pitch at the last game at the Bowling to score that last goal, it was either going to be him or Noble, weren't it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, if someone read that lineup and said, right, pick two players that you want to score the final goal at the Bowling, who would it be? You'd pick, obviously Noble would go first, but you'd also have Winston Reid in behind. And what a header. bullet. Do you know what I mean? If someone of the caliber of David De Gea can't even keep that off his line, do you know what I mean?
It's so true. Yeah, it was so true. It's just meant to be, wasn't it? That whole that whole thing about him.
Oh, that season was meant to be again a game that I watched with my granddad. You know, diehard Spurs fan, and again, I mean, I can count probably of both fans quite a few times. I've seen my granddad celebrate quite massively for a West Ham goal, and that last goal at the Bow Lynn, that was something special. That's a game that, I mean, I was only 15, 16. It's a game for some reason I always kick myself to never have been able to go. But I mean, I'm one of millions of West Ham fans that go, I really wish I could have gone to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what a game. What a game of football.
It was, man. It was a great send-off. And it was one of those, it happens occasionally where things just work out for West Ham. It doesn't happen very often. And in the same way that it worked out for you for that Brighton game, you know, sometimes the stars do align at the right times, and that was one of those games. Okay, so we'll put Oggy in, we put Winston Reid in. Next defender, who are we going to have?
So on the left, I'm going to have Mr. Aaron Cresswell.
Aaron Cresswell, the man with the magic hat. Where is he? There he is. There he is.
Cresswell.
Renaissance for Cresswell, I think, this season.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think having him in more of the 5 rather than the 4 definitely aids his ability, so that, you know, especially when hopefully next season a lot more when Masuaku's fit, and maybe even if we bring in I believe, is it Junior Firpo that we're after from Barcelona?
One of the guys, from Barcelona. Yeah, I mean, one of a million people we're sort of linked to, but they're one of them. He's one of them.
You know, someone that sort of, you know, that can fully push up like what Masuaku does. He fully goes up, and sort of Cresswell sort of somewhat sits on sort of just the edge of the box, maybe a little bit further back, so that if Masuaku can't fully cut in, he can bring it in, and Cresswell can cross it in. And, you know, this season, you know, like you said, it's been a renaissance for it.
It has.
It's been phenomenal for him. And another one, it's completely gained his confidence.
Yeah.
And hopefully brings that into next season. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree.
You know, and as much as we've got a lot of people that can get their head on a ball, if we have an out-and-out striker, getting them kind of crosses coming in, do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. That's the thing. I've said it for a little while. We are a strike away from being a dangerous side. You know, the amount of times I think Spurs did one more woodwork hits this season than us. But 23 times or something like that. If half of them had gone in, we would have easily been the Champions League. You know what I mean? No problem. No worries at all. But Cresswell still ended up being a top assister this season for us, from a centre back, 3 of the back 3, wing back, whatever full left back, whatever, still bloody impressive, man. Top man. Right, so put Cress in. Next one, who's next player?
It's going to be probably a bit of a shock. I mean, especially the other right back that's had such a great season this season. I love him, but for me, Pablo Zabaleta.
Pablo Zabaleta.
Yes.
There he is.
I think just seeing someone that come from City, and he had such a brilliant history with them, but to see someone embrace West Ham, I think, as much as he did, for me, like Zabaleta, he just seems like the nicest bloke out there. Do you know what I mean? And even when we had him, it was a typical West Ham signing. Bring him in when they're a little bit older than you know, just sort of a little bit past their prime. But I feel like he always put everything into it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's one of those players who, you know, you couldn't. And if anything, it's very reminiscent of the team now. Zabaleta, one of those players that you would never slag his commitment off.
No.
You know, his legs had gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you could never slag his commitment off. And I think, and so he was not given an easier ride, but it was like, oh, it's not his fault. He's been picked. You know, he's an old, he's and it used to be, I mean, during this, I think it's sort of the 2000s, we had a raft of playing left backs, really old left backs. We had Stuart Pearce and Winterburn and Chris Powell and Rufus Brever and, you know, all these guys. And you could get away with that then, but you can't now. Fullbacks aren't fullbacks. Fullbacks are basically midfielders. You know, look how many assists Cresswell's got. Look how many crosses Sue Fowler's up in a game. You know what I mean? So,
up and down the wing.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. And so I think Zabaleta was the last of an old breed of fullbacks, really. And, you know, he did a great job. You know, and everyone loved him. So, fair play. I think it's a great shout, man. It's a great shout. Okay. Right. Let's go into midfield then.
Right. So I've gone for the typical West Ham 4-2-3-1, which is probably the opposite of. But
we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Well, you go for who's your next player then, Kai? Go on then.
It's going to be Mr. Scotty Parker.
Scotty Parker. Okie dokie. Yeah. Good start.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as much as he went to Spurs pretty much straight after we went down, he's one of them I very rarely see a lot of West Ham fans sort of talk bad on or talk down to. I mean, that's probably only from my experience and being quite young and sort of going through the sort of the last sort of couple of years of Scotty Parker and seeing him. But from my memory, which is probably definitely nowhere near as good as yours, mate, like he always he's I don't even know how to put it in. I can't even really put it into words. But like he was just vital. He was vital, and he was
critical. It was pinnacle. You know, he was the glue of that team. You know, he was, and you know, it always made me laugh. You know, the journalists always put him down as Captain Scott Parker and stuff like that, and he wasn't. It was Matthew Upson was the captain, and he wasn't. Yeah, but I mean, I used to see him come out of the players' entrance sometimes, literally hobbling. He'd put so much effort into the game, and that's the thing that always winds me up about people about Scott Parker. There's always an asterisk by his name. People took because like by some people, not by a lot of people, but some people. You know, we went to Tottenham. And it's like, well, Martin Peters went to Tottenham in 1970. Bobby Moore wanted to leave to go to Arsenal or Tottenham.
Yeah,
but it's and they're revered. You know, and I think Scott,
of course,
3 years in a row, Hammer of the Year. You know what I mean? And you look at the people like it's like Brooking, Moore, Bonds. These are the type of people who've done that accolade. And if it weren't for him, we'd have been dead and buried months before them.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I mean, like he's one that I think you go to other fan bases and they'll always, pick out a sort of West Ham player from the bowling. Like just before we joined we went on to the London Stadium, sort of the last sort of 10, 15 years of the bowling, pick out one player, and the majority of them, no matter what fan base they come from, they pick out Scott Parker. Do you know what I mean? Like, and as much as he went on to Spurs, in a sense, I can't necessarily blame him. Do you know what I mean?
No, I can't. No. Especially he's like, he said his dad was on his deathbed and he sort of said that he was a big Spurs fan as well. And he said he'll play for Tottenham one day. And I'm not being funny, even like the day before he was leaving for Spurs, he was going. He still played for West Ham and scored, I think, and Watford away, I think it was. And, we asked for his commitment, and that was commitment. He was 20, must have been 28, 29, something like that. It was, just got into the England squad. He could have stayed with us for a year and seen where we went to, but then I think there's a disconnect, isn't there, sometimes between fans and footballers. For a lot of people, they see it as they have to earn as much money as they can in a short amount of time. So it's about going to other clubs. And I know we go, but it's the same as us. If you got a job, say your firm, so you can do the same job you're doing now, but for 20% more. you go there. You know, so it's like, you know, it's weird, isn't it?
Opportunities. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, playing European football, more of a look into getting into your national team. Do you know what I mean? Because as much as, you know, even if you perform well, if you're a team like us, I mean, I think the sort of 26-man England squad, I think that's sort of, in a sense, sort of been a clear sort of seeing with certain teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're not part of the big six or you're not within the top 10 in the Premier League, you ain't got a chance.
Yeah, and,
You know
even if you are,
yeah,
Jesse.
Yeah, no, exactly. And oh God, did I get it wrong with him? And
me too. I got it wrong with him as well.
Yeah, but enough ate my words and happily, so happily,
exactly
take that all back. But yeah.
All right, we'll put Scotty Parker in. All right, who's next?
It's got to be our young captain, Declan Rice.
Oh, nice. Let me find Deck. There he is.
What
a boy! What a boy!
For me, I mean, I always, for some reason, always find his play style a little bit. I'd sort of call it sort of more old school, sort of not your, you know, you sort of see at the moment. You've got DMs that will. I know that he's been doing it a bit more this season. He's been getting into the box, but I think that's at points where we've needed him to do it. It's not been a consistent excess of Declan, what you're doing, you're out of position. You're trying.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? But even when he's got the ball at the edge of the box, he knows his limits, and he won't. You know, he won't go for wonder goals, and he won't do this. He will pass it about and try and find space. And yeah, for some reason, I always find that his play style is a bit more. I'd always call it old school for some reason, but I mean, see, watching him for the first time, and you know, you knew there was something special.
Yeah.
You knew there was something with him, and this season has been a complete game changer, an eye opener for everyone. Going to see, you know, people. You know, I think he's brilliant. But you see Goldbridge, you know, at the start of the season, Mark Goldbridge going, "Oh, I don't want Declan Rice anywhere near United."
Yeah.
And from like February onwards, it's all I've heard him talk about. All I've seen him talk about on Twitter. Oh, United needed CDM. Oh, we should go for Declan Rice, seeing as that Chelsea couldn't go for him because that's why Lampard.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's the thing. I think to be honest, I think until I'd say almost until when we played Poland, I think it was in this season. No, not outside West Ham. Not a lot of people got Declan Rice. They didn't get him. You know what I mean? Same way I didn't get Calvin Phillips. I didn't get Jack Grealish. You know, I didn't because I didn't see him. I didn't see Lee's 90 minutes. I didn't see even Ndidi for Leicester. You know, I didn't see these teams for 90 minutes, so I couldn't be a fit. So, but in the same way that I understand why people didn't see what we see in Declan Rice, and now people are starting to see it.
Yeah, people just see the score sheet and they go for.
Of course they do. Yeah, of course they do.
You know what I mean? And that's nothing on Super. I mean, again, what a signing! You know what I mean? Like he's been phenomenal and he's been so vital to our performance this season. But like you said, it's not until you sit there and you watch a couple of games for 90 minutes, you watch West Ham, and that's where you see Declan Rice and you see what he's really well and truly about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that you know, for me, that final charge against Arsenal when we drew 3-3, you know, we got bitten on the arse and it happened to us and it wasn't very nice. And you know, but that charge that he made, that run that he sort of as if he got the ball and he was just like, do you know what? None of yous have been able to do it. I'm doing it. I'm going for it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I think there's a bit more of that this season. Maybe because they've been giving him the captain's armband. There's a bit more. Right. Okay. There's a bit more. I'll be honest. There's a bit more Scott Parker about him. In that you're looking retrospectively back at Parker, there was certain times where he went, right, fuck it, you're not going to do this, I'm going to do it myself, and I'm going to stick my arse out and spin it around and go, you know, and he would drive the team forward. And there's a lot of Declan Rice in that now in this position he plays, and it's great. The only the only fly in the ointment is when he plays for England. There's a lot of players who want to do that as well. So it's almost like he plays a slightly withdrawn role. I think, you know, he doesn't do that commanding, you know, midfield role because he maybe doesn't have to. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's got a bit like when Joe Cole. When Joe Cole played for England, obviously he put him on the left, and he never got that sort of never got the real Joe Cole. And I think that's the only. But for me, it means he just gets there, he does a job, and he'll go home, and no one will want to buy him. So it's fine by me.
Well,
that's fine by me.
Exactly. I'm completely happy with everyone thinking like the scout record that report from United that come out with Declan Rice is too slow. He's like Nemanja Matic, and he's not good enough. Sweet, brilliant. Yeah, he's shit. I agree. Declan Rice is awful. Let West Ham keep on with him for the next 10 years. Do you know what I mean? Let him stay with us. But he's been something else this season.
I just think it's great that he's sitting. Well, like at Deck, he has the enthusiasm for the game, which is just infectious. Everyone just wants to be his mate, and I love that. I love the fact that he's just relatable, such a relatable bloke. Right, okay, so we got. I'm going to throw it into a 4-4-2 anyway. It doesn't matter. But okay, so now you got your three. So who's your first of your three?
So the first one is going to be the one that I've already alluded to. It's going to be Kevin Nolan.
Kevin Nolan, that's super Kevin Nolan. There he is. Love Kev.
Do you know? I think I was going to mention it earlier, and I do think where he's, he played for Newcastle for years, and I think he got the feel of what they were all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I find that West Ham and Newcastle fans, I feel like we're quite similar. Do you know what I mean? And it's everything's about the football, and it's about the passion. It's about everything is what you do for the shirt. I don't care whether you have one sort of game where you don't put in, you miss a pass that you made last week, or you misplace a shot or whatever. But as long as you put everything on the line for that game, that's all that matters. And I think, Kevin Nolan then coming into us, I think was just a brilliant addition from.
It was. Yeah, it was. And I mean, he took a risk, because I mean, he had to drop down a division. I think he regularly says when people ask him the question that I think he had his best scoring season at Newcastle the season before. And so it took, but he saw the project that Sam wanted to, he trusted Sam, and he was brilliant. He was critical for that promotion season for us, and even more critical now. Even more critical now.
Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. He's I mean, will be forever famous for his chicken runs down the line. But he was so vital to that team, and
he was
into that push into the Premier League. To have someone, that had, like you said, dropped down a division, it took the risk, joined us, brought us back up again, and then to be able to sort of guide us that first season back in the Premier League with pretty much a brand new starting 11 when we left with. Like, I remember when we got relegated, we had so many players leave, and
there's a lot.
Yeah, and then seeing, sort of having someone like Nolan at the sort of the helm of it all on the pitch, and sort of being the driving force for that team for that first season back up. I mean, I believe at that point we'd brought in Jussi Jääskeläinen and a few other names that I can't necessarily remember off the top of my head. But
there was a lot. There was, I mean, he brought in,
a lot.
Yeah, there was.
But to have he was the perfect player to have go from the Championship back up to the Premier League and to sort of start a slow and steady rebuild. Do you know what I mean? Sort of maintaining our positions in the league and, sort of slowly push forward. And he's continued to do that with backroom staff. I mean, he's, like I said, he's brilliant. And the clear like connection that he has with the players as well. Like the video West Ham put out a couple of weeks ago, I think just before the last game against Southampton, of him and Jesse coming onto the pitch into Rush Green, and they're fucking about. Do you know what I mean? Taking the mick out of each other, and you know, it's just brilliant to see someone like him sort of. It's as if he's like his thank you sort of back to us, kind of. It's like I don't know. He's brilliant. I love him.
Yeah. No, I'd say I think he's brilliant too. I think he's a great coach. He's a fantastic coach. And I think he's got the role he played when he joined us was as the join between Big Fat Sam and the team, and he was like the man in the middle. And now it's almost like he's the same role, but a little bit further up. So he's the man in the middle between Moisey and Mark Noble. And Mark Noble's the man between Kevin, you know, so there's like a chain of command, and I think it's perfect. It just works perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll put Nolan in. Good old Kev. Who's next, man?
It's going to be Marko Arnautovic.
Oh, Marko Arnautovic.
I mean, I'm going to sling him on the left because I know Moisey played him a couple of times, sort of left and striker, sort of.
Well, I've said about Marko Arnautovic. I think if we had a 2018 Marko Arnautovic in the team this year, we'll be in Champions League. No problem. We'd have been in Champions League by March.
Yeah.
No problems.
Yeah.
Superb player.
He was something else. He like, and he's one that I was talking to a mate from work who's a Spurs fan, and you know, I said to him, that's, you know, 17, 18 season on Arnie, if he come back, it would be something else. And he went, what did Arnie's really ever do for you? And I was just like, I can't put into words how good Arnie was for us in that season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was, I think during the short stint that he had with us, he come close to pretty much equaling the amount of goals that he had in the league with Stoke in so many games. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he was only with us for what, 2.5 seasons, or a half season and a half. Yeah. Like you said, I mean, the last couple of years they've all just sort of merged into one. But yeah, Arnie, that season with him, Hernandez, Antonio, João Mario as well. Like, yeah, Arnie was brilliant.
I mean, what I liked about Arnie is as I said, he's the perfect foil for the Moyes formation. When he plays this one up front, he was the perfect man. Antonio's great. Antonio's great. And in case you've got him on the team, he's a great player. He's great. But for me, I think Arnautovic had it all in that position. He had the strength. Not as much strength as Antonio, but he was a strong boy. He had a lot of pace. Maybe not as much as Antonio, but enough. Yeah. He was a nasty bastard, which is what you need in that position. You need to get into always remember that Burnley game where he was like laughing at Ben Mee's face, you know, after he fucked up. And he had and you give him a chance and he'd take it. He would take it.
I mean, you know, the Chelsea game we won 1-0, it's almost come from nothing. You know, brought the ball into the box. Box was pretty congested, had a shot and buried it into the bottom corner.
Exactly.
Like, that was brilliant. He was something else, Arnie. And it's a shame that everything that's gone out around him since he's left. I mean, you hear the rumours that he wasn't great for the dressing room, and now we're hearing that was most likely false news. Yeah. Which I'm quite glad that is the case.
Yeah, me too.
You know, because bringing him back, I think just as backup, as something, not as the starting striker, and I think that would be the wrong choice. The wrong choice would be Arnie back as number one. As the number one.
He's too gone for that.
Yeah. But I think having him back and knowing the relationship that he's got with some of our players, you know, you hear Noble talk about him the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and saying that, you know, he talks to him on a regular basis. You know, after the Austria-England game, there's a video of Arnautovic turning his phone round and he's on FaceTime with Noble.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's still in constant talks with him, and before the England game as well, talking to Jesse and Declan as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's really nice to hear the opposite of what we've been told, and I think he would be, especially under Moyes. That's the one thing as well. If I remember correctly, it all went wrong under Pellegrini with him. It didn't go wrong under Moyes. It was sweet as with him under Moyes, from what I can remember.
I think you're right. I mean, again, I can't remember it. It's like, again, everything's all blurs into one. But Moyes was the one who converted him. You know, obviously under Bilic, he was a right winger, left winger, whatever. But he wasn't. You know, he paid 20 million quid for this guy, and he wasn't doing that. And Moyes put him into a more advanced role, and he flourished. And I think Moyes just has that way of developing players like that and getting them under his wing. And I mean, the whole thing about Arnautovic being a snake in the grass, so to speak, at a club and things like that. On that Crouch podcast, Peter Crouch came out and said the same thing.
Yeah,
he said he was the nicest bloke in the world.
Yeah,
you know,
I wonder where these have all come from. Do you know what I mean? Why? I understand he didn't leave the club in a great way, and he didn't.
Yeah.
You know, and that's completely understandable. But I mean, to turn around and sort of falsify and say that he was an arsehole and he was the reason that we started to have problems and he screwed up the dressing room, and you know, it just sort of makes you wonder. I mean, we probably know where that's all come from, because I know Karen Brady come out after we were linked with them just after the end of the season. She come out and pretty much said we don't want anything to do with him.
Well, I think it's all Chinese whispers, isn't it? With these things, it's like, you know, you look at who the player, and I think maybe him in the Pellegrini era may have been a bit more disruptive than Moyes era. You know, so I, you know, it's interesting. I mean, I'd be the same as you, Kai. I'd welcome him back as a number 2. I think he'd be a fantastic number 2, especially on some sort of clever pay-as-you-play deal, or, you know, a performance thing. Look, we'll see what happens, man. Right, we'll put Arnie in. Who's going to be the next one? Who's your next one?
It's got to be Ricardo Vaztei.
Ricardo Vaztei, love it.
It's got to be Vaztei for me, especially where that sort of second half of the Championship season was so vital for me as a West Ham fan. Having Vaztei be as good as he was sort of like the nail in the coffin for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, just I mean, he didn't really do that great in the Premier League, but that doesn't faze me at all. That doesn't faze me at all. He was, you know, the reason why we're back up in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes, I mean, he did the right. He was the right person for the right job. You know what I mean? He did the right job for us. We needed someone who could come in, and we need that extra bit of quality. I think in the Championship we were quite pragmatic as our. You know, we had a lot of good players, but we wasn't anything. You know, anything West Hammy. You know, we like those sort of slightly cavalier players, and he was that, and he was great, and he smashed it up for Barnsley, and you know, I just think he came in and did a great job for us. And as he said, it doesn't matter what happens in the history books, it will say that his goal gets us, you know, took us in the Premier League. So
no, exactly, and I think he goes under as a club legend. I think just for that goal. And even if that was the only goal he ever scored for us, I think he'd have to go under as some sort of. I think in that case, not necessarily a legend, but definitely some sort of figurehead for the club that allowed us to sort of go back up and now sort of become West Ham again. Do you know what I mean? But a bigger West Ham, a West Ham that can survive year in, year out in the Premier League, and you know, and get stronger. And hopefully, we are on that. We are on an A road straight to it going well. But it's West Ham. Nothing ever goes that well.
No, we know that. There's always going to be a road bump, isn't there? There's always going to be a road bump. We've got one more spot.
We do. We do have one more spot.
Who's it going to?
And that is going to Diafra Saka.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Barani, I think he's been one of our best strikers in a long time. I think Diafra Saka was brilliant, and I don't really know. I don't know where we got him from, if I'm honest.
It's sort of a French team. I think it was Nantes or something, or Len or something like that.
And he just sort of, I mean, for me, again, sort of through a dry period of not really following us as much, and not following West Ham as much as I usually would, and as I do now. All of a sudden, for me, Diafra Saka popped up onto the scene along with like him, Ener Valencia, and they sort of popped up onto the scene. It was a bit like, oh, who are these guys? Where how is he banging in goals? And he was a bit of a dark horse, I find. Like I said, for me anyway, I didn't know where he come from. I weren't really taking any notice, and from out of nowhere, bang, he's on the scene and he's doing it for us. And then that last season at Le Bolin, I mean, that goal he got against United, I mean, fluky as you like, but we'll take it, and he was one that I never really understood why we let him go, because he was still performing pretty well, and I think with just a little bit of backup, or sort of not necessarily possibly stepping away from the number one slot of being our main striker, but having someone to give him competition. Do you know what I mean? I think that's always somewhat been our problem. We very rarely have someone in a position that creates competition. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, this season, he's had an up and down season. It's Jared Bowen. I do think he's brilliant, but there's no one on that right hand side really that we can put there that tests him. That is an out and out right winger like Bowen is. You could put Fornals out there, but you could put Fornals out on the left. You could put Fornals out in the centre.
Easily,
you could put Fornals down in the centre defensive midfield role alongside Souček, which we've done a couple of games, and that's not good enough competition. Do you know what I mean? And I think possibly having in, if we had sort of clear competition, I can't from the 15-16 season, I think he was our number one, and then we brought in Simone Zaza. Oh, that was brilliant, weren't it? Do you know what I mean? Oh, fucking hell. And Jonathan Cleary?
Jonathan Cleary,
Oh, fucking class. Top strikers. Do you know? There's never been an essence of, right, this position is good, but we can make it better. We can make it better, and we need to put in competition. What I'm a bit worried about with the DMs this season, with the chance of Krau, or however you pronounce his name, coming in. Rumour has it that now apparently we're not interested because we're all right with Declan Rice, Souček and Noble. And that's the exact problem that we always have. There's no competition. These positions become complacent.
Yes, I know what you mean. Man.
Performances start to drop off. Do you know what I mean? Because they can then sit there. They'll sit in the dressing room and they'll go, well, which one of yous are going to take over me next game? None of yous.
I get you.
Do you know what I mean? And even my worst performances are better than your best. So
and I think the only difference with sort of that time to now is I think we've now got a team. So I think particularly that last season of the bowling. It was a team, but looking back at it now, is basically give the ball to Payet and see what he can do.
Yeah, he carried that team.
Yeah, and so the other team players can sort of not put their foot off the pedal. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it's what I mean. Whereas this team now, if someone didn't pull their weight, you'd be for sure there's going to be about 6 or 7 of them dragging him by the collar. If not, you go back into the change room. You've got Davy Moyes, you've got Piercy, you've got Nolan, you've got Alan, until Alan, this season, you'd have to perform. You have to perform. So
you know that they're going in there and they're getting an absolute bollocking.
I would never want to. I would never want to like not perform or not try because I'd be shit scared.
Piercy's the one that scares me.
Yeah, he does scare me. Yeah, he does scare me, man. He does scare. Now I know it's not 4-4-2. I know it's a 4-2-3-1, but it's the only graphic I had ready.
Yeah.
That's why. But there we go. Do you know what, Kai? I like it because there's some different players on there. Vastay getting a shout out. I think that's great, and Arnie getting a shout, and Sacco as well. You said I once had the privilege of watching a game with Sacco and Czech Koyute back at the old ground once, and it was hilarious because they weren't paying attention, and I was trying to educate them on the virtues of Italian football. Long story, but it never worked. Trying to show them that Fabrizio Micoli, who was playing up front for FC Berkakar at the time, he was about 20. He was about 20 stone. He was a big lad, but he was a full Italian international. Had played for AC Milan, and they didn't believe me. So I was sort of Wikipedia showing them. They're like, no. Yeah, that's my abiding memory of that. Kai, man, it's been a pleasure, man. An hour and 20 minutes has literally flown by. I love doing these shows, man. But it was a really and I love the way that it was a real personal story about it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people go, "Oh, I support West Ham because my dad." But there's a lot more in there, and I love the fact you still have the bubble hat as well. That's awesome, man. And once you get those pictures, send them to me, and it will go out. And if we haven't got it, I'll retweet it afterwards with the pictures. So because I think everyone needs to see them, man.
I mean,
be great.
The last thing I'll add is along with the pictures and all that, this season, because I think it's coming up to the 9th anniversary of his death. This season for Christmas, I mean, pretty shit. I had COVID throughout Christmas, so I couldn't do it on Christmas Day. But just into the new year, early January, I can get a photo of this as well. But my granddad's got a photo of his best mate sat in Spain because he had a flat in Spain, and wearing like a sort of Bobby Moore shirt. It's got BM on it.
Yeah.
And his initials were BM. His name was Brian Middleton. And so for Christmas, I was looking for a shirt. I couldn't find it. And I then decided, sod it, I'm going to get it. So I got a brand new West Ham shirt with Middleton and 6 on the back.
Nice.
And I mean, it was quite funny because I gave, because that I'd already bought like vintage Spurs shirts, one for my granddad, one for my stepdad. So I gave my granddad that one. I gave him the vintage Spurs shirt, and he went, "Oh, this must have burnt you buying this and handing this over." And I was like, Spurs, innit? It's all right. I can tolerate this. And then I gave him the West Ham shirt, and he didn't have a clue because he's opened it at the front. He's just seen the brand new West Ham shirt, and I've gone to, "Oh, this must be burning your hands holding on to this." And he goes, "Nah." He said, "You know, West Ham's always got a spot in my heart." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And I could just see the back of the shirt, and I'm sat there tearing up. Like, my mum's already gone. My mum sat next to me in pieces. My granddad doesn't have a clue. He then just turns the shirt around, sees the name, sees the number, and just breaks down.
Wow.
And to me, like, that's why it's so important to support West Ham for me. It's to pass on this what started off as a friendship was now sort of turned into brotherhood, which is now, then with the football and it's this combination of emotions and like my little brother's a Spurs fan. He's not a Spurs fan. My little brother's a West Ham fan, and then my youngest brother, he doesn't know who to choose, but I'm going to try and get him for next season. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if the stadiums go back to a bit more capacity.
Hopefully,
I'm going to hopefully try and drag him along to a game because, I mean, he is a little West Ham fan, but it's now just trying to make him decide who does he pick 100%. Do you know what I mean? And again, for me, it's passing on that message.
That's what it is, man. It all is. Yeah.
You know,
and it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter what league we play in or whether we're in Europe or whatever. It's just, as you said, it's about maintaining that sort of family tree type of thing. You know, so with my daughter, and hopefully her kids will support West Ham, and you know, yada yada yada, and that's what it's all about, man. That is literally what it's about. But yeah, anyway, Kai, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, man. And obviously, thank you to everyone who's been watching. Whether you do, give it a like, give it a share, give it a subscribe. And for myself and from Kai, take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, get those jab appointments. Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Much love.